We are anonymous. No faces, no flags, no permission slips. We don't ask for your trust. We earn it by laying the receipts on the table and letting you decide what stinks. And tonight, oh, tonight we've got the kind of stink you can smell through the screen. Go to sleep, Donald. Seriously. It's not going to get much better for you. Because while normal people are asleep at 1 a.m., Donald Trump is out here ranting and raving like a lunatic online. Wide awake, spiraling doom, scrolling his own ego like it's a life support machine. What's he posting at 1 a.m.? Weird polls. Rasmussen-style numbers, trying to claim his immigration policies are better than former President Biden's. And yeah, Donald, I'm sure we're all supposed to bow down to whatever cherry-picked poll makes you feel warm and fuzzy at midnight. There's even fresh coverage floating around right now about polling that says a majority prefers Trump's approach on immigration over Biden's, which is exactly the kind of headline Trump loves to cling to like a security blanket. But here's what he doesn't say. When he's pounding the post button at 1 a.m., other polls are showing voters don't think he's outperforming Biden overall, and some are saying the opposite. And that's the part that keeps him awake. Biden is still living rent-free in his head. At 1 o'clock a.m., the man acts like he's fighting a ghost in a mirror. He can't move on, because the only fuel he has is grievance complaint, as a personality resentment, as a bedtime story. He's not governing in his mind. He's competing in his mind, and he's losing control of the narrative, which is basically his kryptonite. Now let's talk about something even uglier, because while Trump is melting down online, he's also blasting out emails to supporters that feel less like campaign outreach and more like a late-night infomercial scam with a red hat on it. I'm going to paraphrase the vibe, because you've probably seen versions of this yourself. Respectfully, do you still love me? Message from the 47th POTUS. He says he might be overthinking things. Then he drops this painfully cringe line. My love language is MAGA. He claims he needs to confirm one last thing before he hits the hay. Then it's, do me a favor. Take my poll, and please don't forget to answer question number 2. I miss you. He begs for 30 seconds of your time, says there are final 12 hours to take the poll. And then boom, click the link, and suddenly you're being funneled into paying thousands of dollars. And if you click the wrong box, like the kind of box that looks like, I've read everything, you can get nudged into doubling it and making it recurring. That's not movement building. That's manipulative design. That's monetizing loneliness. That's emotional blackmail, dressed up as patriotism. Call it what it is, scamming supporters in general, especially older supporters, who are more vulnerable to these kinds of tactics. It's the politics of a pickpocket. Keep them mad, keep them scared, keep them clicking. And if you want to understand why he's up at 1 a.m. acting like his phone is on fire, here's where it gets darker. The Epstein files. There's been a major new wave of government file releases related to Jeffrey Epstein. Millions of pages posted by the Department of Justice under what's being framed as a transparency push. And these releases have renewed scrutiny around who Epstein was connected to, what investigators knew, and what went wrong the night Epstein died in custody on August 10, 2019. Now listen carefully, because this is where people get sloppy and start turning everything into a certainty. I'm not here to do that. I'm not here to tell you I've solved a mystery with vibes. What I am here to do is point at the parts that are documented, the parts that are reported, and the parts that raise legitimate questions, especially when those questions keep circling back to the same name, Donald Trump. In the original chatter, people are throwing around wild claims like 38,000 references to Trump. In the Epstein files, more references to Donald than Harry in a Harry Potter book, more than Jesus in the Bible. Is that exact number verified? I'm not going to pretend it is, but the larger point is real. The newest Epstein-related releases are reigniting public focus on Epstein's ties to the powerful and famous, exactly the kind of spotlight Trump hates. And then there's the death itself, officially ruled a suicide. Yet scrutiny has never stopped, and the Justice Department's own watchdog has previously documented a cocktail of negligence and misconduct at the jail protocol failures, staffing problems, camera issues, and falsified records. Here are the details that are blowing the door open again. 1. The orange figure. Newly discussed material includes references to a surveillance image showing an orange-colored figure moving toward the tier where Epstein was housed on the night he died. There's disagreement over whether it was an inmate, a guard, or someone carrying items, but the very fact that officials don't even agree on what the footage shows is a problem. 2. Missing or compromised footage. There's renewed reporting that key footage around the relevant time window is missing or otherwise compromised, another part of why the public distrust never died. 3. Guards not doing what they were supposed to do and lying about it. This isn't internet rumor. It's in official statements. Correctional officers were charged for falsifying records relating to August 9 and 10 at the Metropolitan Correctional Center, the same period surrounding Epstein's death. 4. The noose/ligature confusion that people keep bringing up. The online narrative says they claimed a noose, but a noose was never recovered, and instead there's talk of an orange jumpsuit tied in a knot, and that the actual noose wasn't recovered. The public record around items and images is messy and fragmented, with references to makeshift ligatures and gaps in what's been publicly accounted for, so you can see why people seize on that ambiguity. 5. Nicholas Tartaglione, the inmate placed with Epstein described in the original story as a quadruple murderer whose MO involved killing people connected to. The key detail in the original narrative is this. Tartaglione has filed a petition saying he wants Trump to pardon or commute his sentence, and he alleges he was moved next to Epstein to kill him, though he says he was taken out a few days before Epstein died. That petition and those allegations have been reported as part of the renewed Epstein file storm again. Allegations, but they're part of the record being discussed. And now the big finding that sent Trump's brain into orbit, a draft press release about Epstein's death that appears dated the day before Epstein actually died. Epstein died on Saturday, August 10, 2019. The claim is that Trump's DOJ prepared a draft statement on Friday, August 9th, before he died, saying Epstein was found unresponsive and pronounced dead, without initially including apparent suicide. Then the next day, the public-facing version included that extra phrase of an apparent suicide. The official DOJ/SDNY statement that includes the apparent suicide wording is publicly posted, and reporting tied to the newly released files highlights that a draft announcement is dated August 9, 2019, raising the obvious question: why was a death announcement drafted with that date before the death was discovered and announced? You don't need to be a conspiracy theorist to see why that's gasoline on a fire. You just need to be a person with a functioning brain. So yeah, Trump's up at 1 a.m. posting polls and Biden bad memes because the Epstein storm is back, and it's circling the people at the top like sharks smelling blood in the water. And Trump is the guy who panics when he can't control the headline. But wait, there's more keeping him awake. Politics is shifting under his feet. Louisiana House District 60, Democrat Chastity Martinez just won the special primary outright on February 7, 2026. General election canceled, beating Republican Brad Daigle with 61.9% to 38.1%, 159 votes to 169. That's not a squeaker. That's a clean win. And here's why it matters. Trump carried that same district before. The original narrative says Trump carried it by 13 points, so Republicans thought it was their moment to flip it. Instead, Democrats held the seat and overperformed massively. If you're seeing that kind of overperformance, plus 20, plus 25, plus 31, plus 40, you're looking at the math of a coming wave. And no, I'm not declaring the future. I'm saying this is why Trump can't sleep. The ground is moving, and he's trying to nail his shoes to the floor. Then we pivot to Georgia, because the original story points to a speech from Democratic Senator Jon Ossoff, misspelled in the rant as Asaf and Oaf, but it's clearly Ossoff, calling out what MAGA has become. He goes after the so-called "don't tread on me" crowd, the people who pretend they're anti-authoritarian until the authoritarian is wearing their jersey. The core point. Now they're saying film federal officers, and you get threatened with being put on a terrorist watch list. They say officers don't have to identify themselves. They don't have to explain why you're stopped. Then the gut punch line aimed at MAGA hypocrisy: obey the federal government or die. And the original rant references a Republican congressman running for Senate in Texas saying, quote,
running for Senate in Texas
when a federal
said,
officer gives you instructions, you abide by them, and you get to keep your life. That quote is real, and it's been reported. It came from Representative Wesley Hunt during an interview about an ICE-related shooting case, and it encapsulates the new MAGA ethos. The government is tyranny. Unless it's their government, then it's comply or else. Then Ossoff drops the line. That should be tattooed across every forehead, pretending MAGA is for the working class. Turns out they're for the Epstein class. The original story calls it nailed it. And the broader framing MAGA as a government of by and for the ultra-rich tracks with the criticism Ossoff has made in speeches and clips about corruption and elites. And the rant keeps going, prices up,
Prices are
jobs
up,
going away,
jobs are going away,
Medicaid and school lunches
are
slashed,
slashed,
nursing homes
are
defunded.
getting
It
defunded.
mocks the Steve Bannon pitch of forgotten man and woman, saying Trump's actually closing rural clinics and hospitals to cut taxes for the rich. Then it throws out names like George Soros and Elon Musk in the same breath, which is incoherent on purpose. Because mega propaganda doesn't need consistency, it needs enemies. It says Trump was supposed to end the globalist world police foreign policy, yet here we are, war for oil, nation building, and even threatening to conquer Greenland. And that Greenland threat, that's not just a random punchline. Recent polling coverage in Europe has tied worsening views of the US to Trump's Greenland talk. And then there's the corruption money trail. Global, a real estate fund, tied to Saudi royals, new Trump deals in multiple countries, governments like Qatar and Oman investing too. This overlaps with public reporting about Trump Organization-branded real estate partnerships involving Dar Global and projects in the Gulf region, including Oman and Saudi-related developments. Finally, the line that's basically a scream in Trump's face. He doesn't just want money from foreign-linked deals, he wants money from the US government too. Because yes, Donald Trump has filed a $10 billion lawsuit against the IRS and Treasury tied to the leak of his tax information, raising conflict of interest questions because he's the sitting president, while suing agencies under the executive branch. The original rant calls it stealing, and whether you label it damages or grift, the demand is still $10 billion, your tax system, your government, dragged into his personal payout fantasy. So zoom out with me. At 1:00 a.m., Trump is posting polls to self-soothe. He's begging supporters, do you still love me? Like a manipulative ex who also wants your credit card number. He's panicking while Epstein files resurface, while contradictions around Epstein's jail death draft statements, missing footage questions, falsified records ignite, the public's suspicion again. Meanwhile, Democrats are overperforming. In elections like Louisiana HD 60, and senators like Ossoff are hammering the mega brand for being a costume. Don't tread on me on the flag. Obey or die in the mouth. That's why he can't sleep. Because the horrors are being uncovered, piece by piece, and he knows he can't bully the internet into forgetting once it decides to remember. If you're watching this, and you're tired of being gaslit by late-night propaganda and scammy emails, don't just scroll to the next distraction. Share this, talk about it, and stay loud. We are anonymous. We are legion. We do not forgive. We do not forget. Expect us.